And thank you for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Ephraim Graham. Tensions between the U.S. and Russia over Syria are rising, casting doubt on whether the Secretary of State's visit to Moscow will advance U.S. interest. Heather Sells has more on Rex Tillerson's trip.
He's the first Trump cabinet official to visit Russia, but it's still unclear whether Russian President Putin will meet with Secretary of State Tillerson. And there's little hope of the two countries agreeing on Syria. The White House says it's confident that Syrian President Bashar Assad ordered a chemical attack on his people this month. And it says the Russians are trying to cover up the involvement of Assad, Moscow's closest ally in the region. President Trump is demanding that Russia withdraw its support for the Assad regime.
Frankly, Putin is backing a person that's truly an evil person. And I think it's very bad for Russia. I think it's very bad for mankind.
President Putin continues to deny that Assad's government directed the attack. Under President Obama, an agreement between the U.S. and Russia 4 years ago was supposed to eliminate Syria's chemical weapons. But clearly that didn't work. The U.S., meanwhile, is pressuring both Russia and Assad, asserting that his days are numbered.
It's clear to all of us that the reign of the Assad family is coming to an end.
Amidst all this, the White House is recovering from a brief firestorm on Tuesday. It started as an attempt by Press Secretary Sean Spicer to point the finger at Assad by comparing him to Adolf Hitler.
You had someone as despicable as Hitler who didn't even sink to using chemical weapons.
Hitler, of course, used gas chambers to kill millions of Jews. Spicer later apologized. Just how the U.S. will continue to be involved in Syria is unclear. UN Ambassador Nikki Haley has said the U.S. is prepared to do more. But at the same time, the president is making it clear
we're not going into Syria.
And Defense Secretary James Mattis is promising that despite growing tensions between the U.S. and Russia, the relationship will not, quote, spiral out of control. Heather Sells, CBN News.
The U.S. bombing of Syria overshadowed last week's meeting between China's president and President Trump. Mengfai Li has the story.
It was the first official meeting of the two rivals. President Trump said he was pleased with the outcome of his time with China's president.
I think we have made tremendous progress in our relationship with China. My representatives have been meeting one-on-one with their counterparts from China, and it's, I think, truly progress has been made.
Meanwhile, Chinese President Xi Jinping suggested that both countries should stay in close contact if they expect positive results.
During this visit, we had many in-depth dialogues and reached some important decisions which could be beneficial to China and the U.S. We also had the chance to know each other better. I'm looking forward to more exchanges between us in the future.
North Korea's recent missile tests were a hot topic of discussion at the summit. On Face the Nation, Secretary of State Rex Tillerson said the Chinese government has a clear understanding of the threat posed by North Korea.
And indeed, the Chinese even themselves have said that they do not believe the conditions are right today to engage in discussions with the government in Pyongyang. And so what I think we're hopeful is that we can work together with the Chinese to change the conditions in the minds of the DPRK leadership. Even China is beginning to recognize that this presents a threat to even to China's interest as well.
China recently announced it would temporarily ban North Korean coal imports, a key source of income for Kim Jong-un's regime, as part of new UN-enforced punishments. The Chinese government is also determined to work closely with the UN to place greater restrictions on North Korean behavior. On military relations, President Trump confirmed that the United States is willing to further strengthen cooperation with China, an important part of bilateral ties. Xi pointed out that mutual trust in military and security areas forms the basis of mutual trust between the two countries. Foreign policy and economic experts believe the vibrant, close bilateral relationship between China and the U.S. is important to the world.
Every country in Asia will benefit if the United States and China are able to address the frictions that exist in a relationship between two big important countries like China and the United States. So it is of the utmost importance to try to have a good dialogue between the two sides from the top on down. And we have started at the top, and it looks as though they're off to a good start. So let's hope we can continue that progress.
Thorny issues like currency manipulation, unfair trade deals, and the South China Sea were barely mentioned publicly.
Xi also invited President Trump to make a state visit to China this year, and the U.S. president accepted. Both leaders also agreed to remain in close contact through meetings, phone calls, and written communications. Mengfei Li, CBN News.
Tensions are high on the divided Korean peninsula. There are signs the North is preparing for another nuclear test. Meanwhile, the Trump administration sent a U.S. aircraft carrier toward the region in an effort to back the South. White House officials say their ultimate concern is the North's growing ability to threaten America with nuclear weapons. President Trump is finding out he needs support from the conservative Republican House Freedom Caucus if he wants any of his big legislative priorities to see the light of day. Healthcare has already been a problem, and next up is tax reform. CBN's David Brody has this story.
President Trump has his hands full dealing with both Democrats and the major news media. But on the legislative front, his fight has been with the Freedom Caucus. This group of seriously conservative lawmakers in the House banded together to prevent the president from claiming a victory on health care reform. But their leader, Mark Meadows, tells CBN News he believes a deal is still in sight.
I think there's some room for optimism because we want to get it done on behalf of the American people. And so failure is not an option. And so as we look at this, you know, the viewers that are tuned in right now, their main litmus test is going to be, did their premiums come down?
The latest reports indicate that the Freedom Caucus is very close to agreeing to a deal with the White House. The sticking point is figuring out just how many of those Obamacare insurance mandates that the states would be able to opt out of. A new health care vote could even happen over the congressional recess.
As we look at this recess, I think it's important to note that we may come back to vote on it.
As the fight over health care continues to be worked out here in Congress, Mark Meadows is going to have something else on his plate. It's called multitasking because the Freedom Caucus and Meadows are not just involved in health care. Get ready for the complicated issue of tax reform. The New York Times calls tax reform a Rubik's Cube because it can be so complicated. A.B. Stoddard is with Real Clear Politics.
There's a reason that tax reform never happens. Republicans kill their own bills. It's very controversial. All the lobbied interests come to the table and start hollering, and everyone has a stake. It's very, very tricky to try to take away any of the carve-outs in the tax code. There's a constituency and a lobby for everyone, and it's been tried before.
But the leader of the Freedom Caucus says on the heels of what happened with health care, he believes tax reform will indeed happen.
I'm optimistic that we'll see a very different process as tax reform comes along.
Are you optimistic that something can get done? It's very complicated.
It is very complicated, but I think we're committed to do that. In tax reform, having it done by August, before we break for August, is not only a worthwhile goal, it's one I think that is achievable.
Meadows says the key to all of this will be to make sure that the Freedom Caucus is included by GOP leadership in the beginning of the discussion process, and that the Freedom Caucus plainly lays out its legislative priorities as well.
We've shared that with the leadership that we need to be involved. And I will say Chairman Brady on the tax reform side has actually been doing a very good job of reaching out to the Freedom Caucus. We've had a number of meetings, and yet we need to make sure that that's more interactive in terms of legislative initiatives.
It's all a work in progress up here on the Hill, and the Freedom Caucus is smack in the middle of it. David Brody, CBN News, Washington.
The doctor dragged off a United Airlines plane and left bloodied could sue the company. The Daily Mail reports that David Dow has issued a statement through two prominent Chicago law firms. He is still undergoing treatment in a Chicago hospital for his injuries. Media reports have revealed that he has a troubled past, including a felony drug conviction and anger management issues. The Louisville Courier-Journal reported he had his medical license suspended for 10 years for illegally prescribing painkillers, and that he sexually involved with a patient who used to work for his practice. But others have pointed out his past doesn't matter. He was picked at random from among the passengers. United says Dow tried to strike an officer who was trying to take him off that plane. Coming up, revelations of an affair forced Alabama's governor to resign. CY1 journalist now says the governor should have borrowed a page from the vice president's playbook. Just weeks after critics scorned the vice president and his wife for instituting rules to affair-proof their marriage, the governor of Alabama has resigned amidst a host of charges related to an alleged affair with a female staffer. At least one journalist is pointing out the governor would have done well to follow the vice president's lead.
I will be leaving the office today, April the 10th.
Robert Bentley resigned as governor Monday after Alabama lawmakers began impeachment hearings. Their concern, whether the governor used state resources to hide an alleged affair with an aide. The dramatic end of Bentley's political career came just weeks after Washington critics blasted the vice president and his wife. Their crime? Creating rules to protect their marriage from infidelity. A Washington Post story revealed that as of 2002, Pence had committed to never eating alone with another woman. Alabama-based resurgent writer Trey Edwards wrote this week that Bentley, quote, proves Mike Pence right. Edwards asked readers, imagine where Alabama would be today if our governor had put some of the same protections in place for his marriage that Mike Pence put in place for his.
I love our people in this state. I love this office.
Alabama voters first elected Bentley in 2011 as a family values conservative who promised to increase jobs. In resigning, Bentley gave thanks to God for allowing him to serve as governor, but never admitted to the affair. He pleaded guilty to 2 misdemeanor violations of campaign finance law, and if he didn't resign, would likely have had to have faced more severe charges and possible impeachment. Up next, we're headed to Studio 5 to sit down with a gospel legend. CeCe Winans joins us next. It's an interview you don't want to miss. CeCe Winans has been making music for more than 30 years. In today's Studio 5 interview, I sit down with a gospel legend for a look at her latest project and a lesson on how it is a testament of God's faithfulness. This old school vibe is just one of the new sounds you can sample on the first CeCe Winans solo recording in about 9 years. It's called Let Them Fall in Love. Lord, help me, Jesus. I'm wasted, so help me, Jesus. I know what I am. Your son, Alvin III,
yes,
did a lot of the producing on this.
And writing.
it. Mm-hmm. Did you catch his vision immediately?
No. Of course not. Probably about 6 years ago, he came and said, Mom, I got a great idea for how you should come back out. Because I didn't realize so much time had went by even then.
It was like 9 years. I find that hard to believe.
9 years from the time of the release, but when he came to me, it had probably been about 4 years.
Wow.
And he shared with me the idea, Mom, it's going to be really cool. My generation is going to love it. So you already know right then. I'm like, your generation? Okay, wait a minute. But he assured me that the lyrics would be bold. It would be who I am, but yet it would be fresh, relevant, kind of a throwback feel in there, And so I was like, oh, I don't think so. But when I finally got it, and it took him a while, trust me. If you talk to him, I'm sure he'll tell you how bad I was. But when I got it, I got excited. I was like, oh, this is gonna be really, really good. It's gonna be fun, you know. Had all live music, 40-piece orchestra.
Nice.
It was awesome. But I have to say, I knew he was gifted and talented going in, but I found out a whole nother level that I didn't know that God had really blessed him with, you know, downloaded in him. So as a mom, you know, I would work during the day or late at night in the studio, and when I get home, I would just weep and say, God, you're so faithful. You're so faithful. And I saw his faithfulness to the next generation through working with my son.
That's beautiful. And your son helping you and your husband at your church as well?
Yes, my son and daughter.
Oh, wow.
Yes, they're both very involved. They're preaching and teaching. So it's a family. It's a family ministry. Yeah, we're all doing this. We were all very surprised by the call, but we've all embraced the call.
Cece and her husband, Alvin Love, started Nashville Life Church 5 years ago. It began after her music-producing son invited about 30 friends over to their home for a Bible study.
And we looked at each other, it's like, oh my God, all the prophecies started coming to our minds. We were like, this is it. And we started Nashville Life. Nice. So it's a church full of millennials on fire for God. We're teaching them how to be disciples. We're making sure the main thing remains the main thing, and that's just loving God and loving people.
Many people watching are going to want to know, what is your secret for reaching that generation? Because they're leaders in churches and looking out into the audience and not seeing them. What is the key?
Well, you know what? The number one thing, we were birthed out that way. You know, very diverse group of people, which is awesome. But I think from what we've learned, my husband and I, since we've been pastoring the millennials, is that they just want the real deal. They don't want all the stuff that we think have to be church, the traditional stuff. And trust me, I love a lot of the great traditions, but they want it simple. They just want a relationship with Jesus.
I want to talk about your family just a little bit, the great Winans family. We love all of you. But a surprise to me, I'm sitting at home watching Greenleaf, and I see the Winans last name on one of the lead characters.
That's right.
And I'm thinking, surely not. So then I look. Okay, so your niece is an actress?
My niece is an actress. Everybody thought, they didn't know if it was me, if it was my daughter, my niece. I'm like, guys, she's way younger than I am. Thank you very much, but it's not me. But yeah, my niece Joy is on Greenleaf, and so she's an amazing actress.
Daddy, I think the charity is just trying to... Gigi! How many times do I have to tell you I don't need you looking out for me?
When she told my mother she wanted to be an actress, my mother's like, oh no. Oh God, let me pray this off quick. Needless to say, my mother is still praying. She's trying to pray her off the show.
I mean, because this show tackles the inside of the church and everything.
It's horrible. It's horrible the way it attacks the church, but we love Joy, and I think she's amazing, and she's up for a stellar. She recorded a song called Master's Call, and it's a beautiful song, and so I applaud her. She has her first nomination and you know, Joy never sang before. People don't know this. She never sang before she did the show. And so she called me and was like, Auntie Cece, I got to come to Nashville. I said, you come to Nashville for what? I got to go to the studio. I was like, what? And she was like, yes, can you please come help me? Can you please? I was like, Joy, you got it in you. You know, I knew she could sing, and she had to find her own voice. I said, don't try to be anybody else. You're unique. Use what God has given you, and He'll bless it.
Are there any Winans who can't sing? Are there any
None that I know of that just don't sing at all. No, everybody sings a little bit at least.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Last question for you. I know people want to know this. I know you've got a new album out. We're enjoying it. We're loving it.
New record. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Are you and your brother getting back together to do anything else?
That's always the question.
I know. We have
to. But you know, nothing planned. Nothing planned. I mean, it took me 9 years to get back in the studio to do this. You know, my prayer is always, Lord, let your perfect will be done. If it's singing, great. If it's singing with my brother, great. If it's not, great. And saying that, God gave us this church, and it's full time, you know, and I love it. I love it.
Cece's new project is called Let Them Fall in Love. It is wonderful, and it's available right now. Superbook is broadcasting in Poland just in time for Easter. Nearly 190,000 viewers watched the Polish debut of the first Christmas episode back in December on Polish national television. Now, the same broadcaster has decided to offer the entire season in the Polish language this month, airing an episode in prime time every day along with repeats. The station TV Polonia has signed on to air Superbook for 3 years. The animated series can also be found on the station's website. It is time now for your Wednesday word, and today's word is victory, which sometimes may seem or feel impossible. But know this, every small step in the right direction moves you closer to that big victory. So keep moving and see victory as one step at a time. With that word, make this a wonderful Wednesday. You have what it takes to make that confession indeed a true reality. Well, that is going to do it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. Remember, you can always get more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care most about anytime at cbnnews.com. We always love to hear what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can do that by emailing newswatch@cbn.com. We'd also love for you to reach out and touch us on Facebook, Twitter, as well as Instagram. Hope you'll join us again right here next time. Thank you so much for joining us. Make this a wonderful Wednesday. We'll see you right back here, same time, come tomorrow. Goodbye.